Tansin itute magtiar Wheatley Nisiga Asun Tawaw. We've got your news roundup from this week for this edition of APTN National News Weekend. MPs returned to Ottawa this week for the opening of the fall session of Parliament. The Carney government is set to deliver a budget in this sitting, and word on the Hill is that it will be an austerity budget with cuts. And the debate on the government's recently passed Bill C-5, or One Economy Act legislation, continues to be a hot topic. APTN's Fraser Needham has more.
Indigenous Services Minister Mandy Galmasti says that her department will be working on a number of priorities in this sitting. This includes reintroducing the First Nations Clean Water Act, which died on the order paper in the last Parliament.
We did commit that we would be putting the water legislation back on the table. I hope that everybody in the House is going to support this process. Water is a very critical issue in community. We want to be sure that people view this as a non-partisan agenda and that they work with us to really push those solutions forward for them.
Monday was also the first time Prime Minister Mark Carney and Conservative opposition leader Pierre Poilievre faced off against each other in question period. This after Poilievre lost his Ottawa seat in the spring election, but gained a new one in a summer by-election in Alberta. NDP MP Leah Gazan says her party will continue to challenge the government on Bill C-5. She adds the announcement of a new Indigenous Advisory Council last week to advise on major projects makes little difference.
I think it's just another action of the federal government, smoke and mirrors action, to appear as if they're consulting when in fact they are failing to uphold the jurisdictional and rights to self-determination of Indigenous peoples. They are certainly violating rights contained within Section 35 and Section 35(3) of the Constitution.
Gazan also says the NDP will press the Liberals to withdraw any projected cuts to Indigenous services in the upcoming budget.
They've already made it clear that there's going to be 15% cutbacks on, for example, Indigenous services, ISK, Crown Indigenous relations, when there's no wiggle room. So they are building a military and building an economy on the backs of people that have already had their human rights violated and people who are already left behind.
But Galmasti says her department is working to make Indigenous services more efficient without reducing services.
We really did a lot of reflection at ISK to see how are we going to go and find those efficiencies in our department. We are a large department. We wanted to hone in and see what are those programs that are really working for community, what are some programs that are not reaching their targets, what can we do to really align with supporting the communities in the way they want to be supported.
This sitting of Parliament is scheduled to wrap up in mid-December. Fraser Needham, APTN National News, Ottawa.
Ginanaskamet and Fraser, the Mi'kmaq continue to protect the highlands in Cape Breton, setting up a camp with a checkpoint to prevent clear-cutting that is destroying the forest ecosystem. However, RCMP are patrolling the area as the Mi'kmaq take their own initiative to protect the mountains. Angel Moore brings us this exclusive story.
Okay. So everybody's detained right now for a mischief investigation.
For what?
For what? Whatever was happening at Nova Scotia.
There's nothing happening.
That was Corporal Holly Murphy speaking to Mi'kmaq land protectors on a road in Hunter's Mountain, Unamagi, Mi'kmaq for Cape Breton. Ashton Bernard and other land protectors were driving to the site where Bernard shot his first moose to harvest medicine when the RCMP pulled them over.
And then DNR actually blocked the road off from us, and the cops come out from the woods and detained all of us. But other than that, they're just, bothering the native people here.
About 2 weeks ago, Mi'kmaq land protectors seized the wood from 3 logging trucks to stop the clear cutting that they say is destroying the moose habitat, water flow, and traditional medicines. They have since set up a camp with a checkpoint to protect the forest.
The Unamagi Highlands, this is our resources, and we let these big corporations destroy our hunting grounds and our medicine grounds. It's just heartbreaking because I shot my first moose at Windmill Road, and now it's just a memory. It's not there anymore.
Jaime Baptiste is from the Eskazoni First Nation and a Liberal MP. He was touring the mountain when he came across the police stopping the Mi'kmaq land protectors. The RCMP offered tobacco to Baptiste and left. No one was detained. Baptiste says he is here to support the Mi'kmaq.
I see for myself, I've heard the concerns, and we know that this place means more than just trees and moose. It's a sacred area for these people, which they've passed down their knowledge for generations, and we want to figure out how we can do it into the future. And
the land protectors showed Baptiste this open pit of the Nova Scotia Power Reservoir Dam near Wreck Cove in Hunters Mountain. They say the Mi'kmaq people were not consulted and are fed up with the government. Baptiste says he understands the distrust.
We're here to listen, and when we were invited by people to come up here and see what's going on, you know, I always feel like in any kind of animosity between Mi'kmaq and the province or members of that it's incumbent upon me to be there and see for myself what's going on and not just take someone else's word for it.
Nearby in the bushes is where Fred Siliboy's son, Chris, shot his first moose. Sadly, Chris died from cancer in 2008 when he was 19 years old.
It was given to me by moose hunters of Eskasoni and the hunters of the Hunters Mountain. It's a plaque in honor and memorial, sacred tree for my son, which he shot his first moose at the age of 12.
But the sacred tree was a victim of clearcutting. Siliboy was heartbroken.
My gut fell to the ground. I was so upset, so mad, angry and mad. I got here, looked at the tree, and when I was looking over to the side, I could see all the construction that was going on. And these guys were cutting trees and they were on their excavators.
To help protect the forest, the camp has grown to about 100 people, including elders and youth, with Mi'kmaq teachings, including cleaning hide and drawing medicines. The movement has led to people coming together to protect Mi'kmaq lands. Amy Maloney is from the Spaganagity First Nation.
And we all stood there and we all were singing from the bottom of our hearts and the top of our lungs, the honor song. And that coming on Hunters Mountain was an overwhelming feeling of pride, real indigenous pride.
Youth came to dance for the elders and community members, who all have memories from the mountains, including Elder Douglas Denny from the Eskasoni First Nation. He harvested lumber in the mountains with his dad's company.
We have to protect our forest, sure. You know, I believe that, and I support these guys. And but the forest got to be protected, and got to be managed properly.
Port Hawkesbury Paper has since paused clear-cutting. They told APTN News they are working with the Nova Scotia Chiefs and Mi'kmaq associations on a holistic ecosystem-based forestry. Siliboy hopes his son's story will help save the mountain.
I'm feeling, I never thought I'd be standing here and explaining him my story about my son and the hurt that I went through with him and the hurt my people are going through with the sacred mountain.
The land protectors are staying put and plan to build a permanent camp to protect their lands. Angel Moore, APTN National News, Hunters Mountain, Unama'ki.
Tapwagicha Angel. A candlelight vigil was held this week on the same day that Tanya Jane Neepanak went missing from Winnipeg 14 years ago. Her daughter wanted to hold the event as a reminder to the public that she is loved and missed. And a lot has changed since then, including how the Winnipeg police do outreach with families of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. Candles lit as people reflected, and the sound of the drum echoed in the air.
Marks 14 years since my mom has been missing.
Aww, it's okay. An emotional Jasmine Mann has rallied the community together to honor her mother, Tanya Jane Neepanak.
I was only 10 years old when I lost my mom. And it was really hard growing up without her, understanding the story behind it as I grew up. My mom, Tanya Neepanak, deserves justice. I want her home so we can finally have the closure we need and the justice she deserves. My mom had such a big heart. She loved her children more than anything. One of the best memories I have of my mom is her dancing. Her favorites were Shania Twain and Shakira. She would dance all around her room, getting us to dance with her.
On September 13th, 2011, with $5 in hand, she told her family she was going to grab a pizza at a nearby store. She never returned home, so family and friends took to the streets. For months, the family hung posters on their own, making pleas to the public without the help of indigenous organizations or the Winnipeg police. Now, all these years later, the WPS have hired Sheila North as an external Indigenous Relations officer. When Tanya went missing, North was a reporter in the city and recalls WPS told the family Tanya may have went on vacation and didn't take her case seriously.
Very hurtful on how they relayed information and how they reacted to family when they reported Tanya missing the first time.
In 2012, WPS announced that Sean Lamb was charged with second-degree murder for Nipinak. However, those charges were stayed because there wasn't enough evidence. But Lamb is in prison for killing 2 other First Nations women within months of Tanya. Around the same time, news broke that Tanya's remains may be in the Brady Road landfill. A search was done, but it concluded in less than a week.
It was a different time, and it was because of the work and the hearts of people like the family of Tanya Nipinak that has changed to where we are now, that they're attending vigils and that they actually care and they want to learn about what's actually going on.
Over the years, family members like her Aunt Sue Caribou never gave up, always pushing for another search.
They're not trash.
This past spring, the province and the WPS announced they would be conducting a search at the Brady landfill for a different missing woman, Ashley Shingus. She was killed in 2022 by a serial killer who received life in prison for first-degree murder ×4 for 4 First Nations women. Not long after that announcement, Tanya's family was told she would be included in the new search. While there is no promise of finding either woman, the shift in how WPS handles these types of cases today is why North has agreed to work with them.
But I'm very hopeful too, because I know that things change, people change, time changes, and if I am able to criticize, I should be able to help too.
Help from North that Tanya's family is grateful to have.
We're going to bring our beautiful Tanya Nipinak home.
Not just for themselves, but for the entire city, as the WPS continues to try build a working relationship with the Indigenous community. T.R. Wheatley, APTN National News, Winnipeg. And IKEA Winnipeg shows some action toward truth and reconciliation. We take you to their exhibit when we come back. Cheskwa. Pitigwe. The provincial government in British Columbia has given the green light to a massive energy project. With the details, here's APTN's Tina House.
At this press conference, Premier David Eby was joined by the Nisga'a Lissom's government to make a special announcement.
I'm so thrilled for the Nisga'a people. They have worked hard to get to this stage, and I am very proud to announce that the EA, the Environmental Assessment Certificate, has been issued for the Lissoms project, which means that the project is moving forward, and the only final hurdle for the Nisga'a is a final investment decision for them and their partners.
The C. Lissoms project name means the Nass River in their language, and this project has been 10 years in the making. It will deliver 12 million tons of liquefied natural gas per year to the Perce Island on the northwest coast through pipelines from northeast BC. The LNG will then be transported to Asian markets on tankers.
In partnership with First Nations, finding ways to drive down carbon pollution while building up our economy. That's how you build an economy the right way, and today's announcement, an excellent example of that. Lissoms shows us what the future looks like. This project will create 800 jobs during construction, more than 200 jobs ongoing at the site, $17 billion in contribution to the Canadian economy over the lifetime of the project.
Eva Clayton is the president of the Nisga'a Lissom's government. She says Indigenous people now play an essential role in shaping Canada's economy.
Lissoms LNG is a project our nation is proud to be co-developing with our partners. As BC and Canada work to retool our economy, Indigenous nations all across Canada are playing a central role. We don't need to resist change if we are the ones shaping it.
The Nishka, in partnership with the Rockies LNG and Western LNG, say the project also involves many partners on the ground to make this happen. Tina House, APTN National News, Vancouver.
Ginanaskamet in Tina. IKEA Winnipeg is on a reconciliation journey working alongside a First Nations advisor. Their staff have been learning Indigenous history and teachings while attending ceremonies, and now a permanent exhibition and Indigenous family room inside the store. IKEA Winnipeg says it's setting an example for other large businesses to follow suit. Julia Ross sits with 4-star Woman to learn about the exhibit.
As IKEA Winnipeg customers venture through the display room floor, they're met with an exhibition and family room influenced by Indigenous culture.
Does it feel like you're in IKEA right now?
No. IKEA Winnipeg's Indigenous advisor, Leslie Beardy, is the curator of the Come Home Pekue Biguin exhibit in IKEA Winnipeg.
What we think and what we do, what we put into our homes, and it's important to know the history. So there's archival images on the walls that show we've always been here.
The exhibition includes an east-facing teepee with artwork from Michaela Gilbert, as well as photos, a medicines display, and a star blanket made by Corey Sanderson. The teepee has Indigenous values burnt into each pole. Beardy has found tobacco ties and collects them to bring to the land.
We see lots of traffic into this room. We see lots of people coming around the corner and saying, oh, wow, I didn't know IKEA would have something like this. And the other really exciting thing we've seen is a lot of parents in here with their children reading the different communications and teaching, which is really great, and we're super proud of that.
Around the corner, a wall with information about missing and murdered women, girls, and Two-Spirit people is displayed along with a ribbon skirt by Drayden Flett Roulette. Beardy says the top is interchangeable, currently dressed in an Every Child Matters shirt for National Day for Truth and Reconciliation.
When I seen this skirt, I broke down in tears because I know how much work goes into creating art, and like stuff like this, to have my vision to be, seen in real life. Like I broke down in tears, and how beautiful it is.
Andrea Drylick is the Communications and Interior Design Manager for IKEA Winnipeg. She helped design the family room. She says IKEA staff visited different Indigenous families' homes, helping them to come up with solutions.
We come to a customer's home and we talk about the activities they do in their home, what kind of needs they have that they aren't being met with their current home furnishing solutions, and what their dreams are and their frustrations. And then we bring that back and we create solutions with our product that we know will help people's lives at home become easier.
A family from Hollow Water First Nation became the chosen family to design the solutions around. Drylick says that the exhibit is treated well at IKEA Winnipeg.
Both of these spaces we're really excited to see are treated with the most respect out of any display in the store.
Back at the teepee, Beardy says it is beautiful to take up this much space and to have people walk by her work. With her help, staff have participated in raising a teepee, a pipe ceremony, and have dedicated time to learn about residential schools, Indigenous history, and culture.
When I was asked to come on board as the advisor and the curator, we always said it was just between us and them, and it's not, a spectacle, or what I mean? We're not doing it for that. It's because they want to learn, and I'm the teacher in a good way, of course.
The exhibition and family room are permanent installations at the Winnipeg IKEA. Julia Ross, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
Tapwagi. And we take you to Yellowknife to hear about a Métis woman's garden that's feeding community when we come back. Cheskwa. Wow, welcome back. A North Slave Métis woman in Yellowknife has been growing a garden for her community for the past 2 years. APTN video journalist Bruce Dela Cruz tells us her plans to continue to feed her community one crop at a time.
Shirley Cumont is a contractor for the North Slave Métis Alliance in Yellowknife. But when she's not at her desk, she is at the Alliance's community garden. Kumant has operated the garden since 2023 to promote food security for the North Slave Métis Alliance, which numbers around 300, and build community at the same time.
So for me, I see it as a place to connect with others, with themselves, and with the earth and the Creator.
Kumant has enjoyed gardening since she was a little girl. Today, it is her way of sharing and healing with those around her.
It will turn nice and red, darker red. And my earliest memories, and I was actually sick with a chest cold. And I remember even the doctor's appointment before that, and him telling whoever was with me, put her in the garden. So I remember vividly the day that I was sitting in the garden, being ill, but also feeling very alive and happy and connected. That doctor was so correct in saying this is where she can heal.
She also says the community garden helps the North Slave Métis to stick to their roots of traditional gardening.
We have a cultural gathering place at Old Fort Ray, and there are signs of people planting things that have stood the test of time, like the rhubarb and the berry patches that are planted there. So we want to renew that and see what else we could have in our food forest there.
Kumant gave APTN News some food for thought and explained gardening can be a step towards reconciliation.
Being able to provide for our own selves and having that autonomy. We are a distinct group of people and want to be recognized as such and have our voice heard. And we want to be a healthy, thriving community.
Kumant left us with a small taste of her vision for the future.
I feel like growing the garden is nurturing our community, and the more it grows, our community grows closer together. And so it's really important that we are able to expand it to the point where we can actually provide enough food for everyone. And right now, it's, we start small, but we'll get there.
Shirley has big plans for the North Slave Métis Alliance's community garden here in Yellowknife. These include finding more volunteers, buying more equipment, and securing more land for expansion. Shirley is inviting the public to the community garden to come check it out. She can be contacted by email at shirley.kumant@nsma.net. Bruce De La Cruz, APTN National News, Yellowknife.
Tapwegi Chib Bruce. And that's all the time we have for your APTN National News Weekend Edition. Krista Najikode is back here on Monday. I'm TR Wheatley. It's been a pleasure to be here with you. From all of us at APTN, both in front of the camera and behind the scenes, to all of you, Egose, Gitam, Gigawapa Mitinano.